your life really ain't that bad. One of the things that I really wish that people would realize on how good they actually have it. For example, if you work a 9 to 5, you have a corporate job, I understand that we kind of just call it slavery, like slaving your life away, whatever it is. Even with me and my friends, we all kind of work 9 to 5s, and we always joke about it that we're corporate slaves. But at the end of the day, I think we miss the point and we fail to understand on how good we actually have it. You see, there's so many people out there in the world that just don't have it as good as us. And one of the things that I always like to say is that we're basically in the top of 1% of the world. I think if you're making anywhere like $70,000 a year or above, you're in the top 10% of the world. And that's an insane stat to honestly think about, because it's like, what do you mean we're in the top 10% in the world when with just $70,000? Now, obviously, you can argue for inflation, you could argue for standard of living, you could argue where exactly in the US that you actually live. Obviously, $70,000 doesn't go as far in New York as it does in somewhere like Montana. You can make all of those arguments for sure. I think those arguments just miss the point. I think they just start nitpicking statistics to fit their own narrative, which is literally not realizing on how great of a life that they actually have. So I want you to look around on where exactly you live, and I want you to see all the hard jobs that people are actually working and understand that that could have been you. I want you to understand that you could have probably been going to sleep just hungry at night. How big of a blessing is food? Even if it is food that you don't actually like there's millions of people in the world that are just starving. There's millions of people in the world that don't have anything to eat on a daily basis, right? Like they eat one day and then they fast the next. This is a very common thing that you will see throughout the entire world, whether that's in the continent of Africa or in South Asia. I'm originally from Pakistan. I can literally attest to this, that people really do live in impoverished conditions. And those impoverished conditions are nothing like we have in the USA. They're much worse, like significantly worse. Like even if somebody lives below the poverty line over here, they could still probably get something off the dollar menu on like a fast food chain. People literally dress up to go to fast food chains in Pakistan. That's literally an insane concept to actually think about. But here we are, just living our lives just like everything is just normal. On my commute to work every single morning, I see people at the bus stop just waiting, regardless of whether it is raining, regardless of whether it's cold, hot, whatever the case might be. I always see people like that. And I'm over here in my car just complaining and whining about how I have to go to work so early in the morning and I have to do all of these different and insignificant things and just sit in front of a computer all day. And to be honest with you, I feel like it's very ungrateful. I feel like I'm very ungrateful for the life that I actually have. But I also think that this is a sentiment that is shared across, anybody that's actually watching YouTube on their phone or their laptop or just, sitting in their air-conditioned house and just really just going about their day like, they're just living normal lives. But to be honest with you, we really do live like kings, especially the average American probably lives a much better life than a king probably like 2,000-3,000 years ago. And that's something to really think about, and that's something to really digest mentally as well, that how good you actually have it. So you can live your life thinking that you're a victim of circumstance. You can live your life thinking that you don't have enough. But I promise you, regardless of however much you get, you're probably never going to have enough. If you have a car, the only difference between your car that has a functioning AC and a car that's more expensive than yours is probably a little bit more comfortable and a little bit faster. That's it. There's really no other difference. The problems that you have, they're probably the same problems that other people face as well. There's really no point in actually dwelling on them. The houses and the apartments, they get a little bit more luxurious. They also get a little bit bigger, but they also get more expensive, and that comes with their own problems. If you're trying to chase the Jonases, then that's also a problem as well. But what a wonderful problem to have about chasing the Jonases as well, because that just means that you have a lack of problems in your life, that you chose to just compete with other people on your desires and on your wants and your needs. That's an insane thing to think about if you frame it that way, right? So it's all really about how you frame things. It's all really about what your mindset is and where your heart is as well. Anyways, if you're watching this video was really meant to find you, and I hope this gave you a little bit of perspective on how exactly to view your life and how to live it. And just try your best to look at things and people that don't have as much as you, instead of just always complaining about how wealthy the ultra rich are and the top 1% of the US are. You're probably in the top 10% as well. If you have a roof over your head, you got food on a daily basis, even if it's food that you actually don't like, as long as it's nutritious, you're good to go. If you have air conditioning and a car that just gets you from point A to point B safely, comfortably, you're good to go, man. I'm telling you, there's not really much else that you can need. If you have these things first, everything else is literally just all luxury. Some would even argue that AC is a luxury as well, and I would agree with that argument, to be honest with you. All right, this is Yusha signing out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.